Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are informed about future videos. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So, people are buying crypto. I don't know if people know. It's a relatively new thing. It's never happened before. We haven't gotten news about it over the course of the last 8 years or so. But alas, here we are. A crypto whale has been spotted, accumulating tens of millions of dollars worth of Ethereum in an apparent effort to buy the dip. Yes, for those of you who do not know or are simply unaware, for whatever reason, September and October are meant to be the months where prices begin to skyrocket. If you have seen other forms of information and or been reading around, a lot of people are saying that typically the bull runs, like the bull run, because we're already in one, but like the parabolic one that lasts for over a year, apparently begins anywhere from 3 to 6 months after the halving has taken place, with the somewhat bright optimism of the Fed apparently going to lower interest rates. We need to see it in person as opposed to just everyone assuming that it's going to happen. The generalized idea is that this is going to really help the cryptocurrency market. You might have seen or might have heard. It's been in the news every other day. The analysts are predicting, these are the predictions, that by the end of October, you might have remembered from November and December, they're predicting an $8,000 plus Ether. And a lot of people, this is where we're getting those numbers of a $100,000 plus Bitcoin, basically by the time Christmas is rolling around. First reported by blockchain tracking firm Look On Chain, an Ethereum address starting with whatever purchased $4.7 million worth of Ether on Friday, adding to its nearly 100 million Ether stack, $100 million Ether stack. They said the whale has accumulated 37,800 Ether since the 24th of May, with an average buying price of $2,420. And currently has an unrealized profit of 7.5 million US dollars. Whales are buying every single day, but we've seen a relative frenzy since around June. Back then, prices weren't really paying attention because we were getting that news every single day. For those of you who missed it, nearly every single day we were getting news that whales were buying massive amounts of crypto. That's where we heard 33+% of all Ether was being staked, that there was less than of the entire supply of Ether, that less than 10% of Ether was available on crypto exchanges. What was the other number? And that 91% of Bitcoin, 91% of Bitcoin is being held by whales. And I keep seeing on Twitter, everyone has their own opinion about everything. I keep seeing on Twitter people talking about this is centralization, this is so-and-so. And it's like, no, you have to understand how long 15 years is. These people saw what you didn't see, and they've been buying as much as they possibly can. I remember, because I was one of those people, there was a point where Bitcoin was just released. And my friend told me about it, and I made fun of him. Why would anyone need digital currency when we have paper? We have cards. What are you talking about? Why would anyone need this? So we've existed in a world where even now, you still get this news. You still see this level of accumulation. And this is not financial advice, but a lot of people in crypto aren't buying. A lot of people outside of crypto don't buy. They're not investing. They're not putting their money into it. And they will probably complain as well when Bitcoin hits 200,000, when it hits 400,000, when it goes to $600,000 per coin. They're going to scream centralization and won't have any crypto because they just simply choose not to buy. A lot of people were able to buy also back in 2018 when Bitcoin fell down to $3,000. People could have bought half a coin. People could have bought a tenth of a coin, but they simply chose not to. So the people who do pay attention, who buy the property, who buy the land, who buy the stocks, who buy the assets, who buy the art, these are the people who profit later on. It's just the way that money works. Anywho, yeah, we usually get a lot of Bitcoin whale news, and now we're getting some Ethereum news as there literally is not a lot left. Like the Ether whales have been very deliberate in their purchases, and now there's literally almost nothing left for the average person to buy. But the average person, at least for Ether, probably won't pay attention until Ether's around $12,000 to $15,000 per coin. But once again, to each their own. That's the whale news. And yeah, let's move on. Again, in very popular news, I'm not sure how they do it, but they keep on doing it. Metaplanet. Metaplanet is back in the news. Metaplanet is the company from Japan who announced earlier this year that they were going to be buying Bitcoin. No. Initially, they said that they bought Bitcoin. I think it was something like 47 Bitcoin or something like that. And then they announced that they were going to be buying a several $1 million worth of Bitcoin. And then they announced again, I think recently, sometime in July or August, that they were going to be trying to raise, I think it was what was it, like 70 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin. And now it looks like these Bitcoin purchases have begun to roll on in. Metaplanet took a step in its 1 billion yen Bitcoin purchase plan on the 8th of August. That's when they, I believe, first announced that they were trying to raise 1 billion yen. The company announced that it had already purchased 57.27 Bitcoin. The company is particularly focused on continuing its purchase of Bitcoin to achieve its goal. For those of you who didn't see, the Japanese yen isn't and hasn't been doing too well against many other world currencies, specifically the US dollar. And Metaplanet kind of jumped out onto the scene by announcing that they saw the devaluation of their currency and blah, 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 blah. And basically, they wanted to do something about it. And their way of doing something about it was buying Bitcoin, which made them extremely popular. With its latest purchase, once again, Metaplanet, the company's total Bitcoin holdings have reached 360 Bitcoin. The average cost of the purchases were calculated to be $65,000 per coin. The recent purchase of 57.27 BTC was made at an average price of $59,000 per coin. Super popular news. Nothing wrong with it. It's just they keep popping up back in the news over and over. I know there are people out there who like Bitcoin acquisition news and to hear about the companies and other people who are acquiring it. I wish more people reacted this way when we heard that there were companies spending $2 billion. But alas, here we are. It's nice to see people excited about anything at this point within the cryptocurrency space. Yeah, Metaplanet is publicly announcing that they are buying Bitcoin. There are dozens and dozens of other companies who are doing the exact same thing who simply aren't listed publicly. And they're trying to stay out of the spotlight just because no one has to know their business. Yeah, that's the Metaplanet has purchased even more Bitcoin. I assume this is the last of their 1 billion yen that they were raising. I think so, but I feel like something else is coming. Yeah, that's the Metaplanet news. Moving along. I'm going to try and be nice, but I know sometimes it's very difficult. For those of you who missed the news, I think it was yesterday or like a day or two ago, somewhere around there. Justin's son, he didn't even start a rumor. He wrote something on Twitter and people don't know how to read or do anything for themselves. It's an actual problem with society. I know it sounds like I'm joking, or maybe it doesn't. No, I'm not joking at all. Like it's actually pretty bad. Justin Sun released a tweet basically saying that China, no, he said, country unbans crypto. What's the best meme coin for this? And it was basically, he was shilling this meme coin that's tied to China. We don't know if it's tied to him, but he wouldn't write the tweet unless he was going to profit from it in some sort of way, which led a lot of people to believe that China was going to be unbanning Bitcoin. In that video, once again, quite lightly. For those of you who didn't watch it, shame on you. Second point, China has never banned crypto. That was never a thing. That was reported by Western media and by US media, near specifically, to try and get people to believe back in 2017 and 2018 that something was wrong with crypto in China in an effort to get people to stop mining in China and to move the majority of their mining power to the United States. What ended up happening is that the US then had a monopoly on cryptocurrency mining power, as we went over before, about a year ago when Texas had that cold snap and 15% of Bitcoin mining had a problem for a day or two, where basically people couldn't mine in Texas because it was too cold. Not joking, it was snowing. You might have seen the videos. The other issue is, among many, is that 15% of the Bitcoin mining power was centralized just in one state. But that's an entirely different topic. So this seems to be the 2.0 of stupidity right here. It has recently been revealed to people within the cryptocurrency space that China is difficult when it comes to money. That's why I said before, a lot of people in crypto and in the world don't read. They know nothing about history, which is a gigantic shame. I understand that you might not like history, which also doesn't make any sense because you literally are history. You are constantly making history. And you are involved in history at all times. I don't get why people don't like to read books or figure out where things came from in the past, especially within crypto, because this would lead us to a very, very different world, but also, stupidity. So the major news of the day is China has changed one of their policies on crypto transactions and have begun to announce that crypto transactions are classified as money laundering under its latest legal interpretation. It says this is the harshest stance yet from a country already known for its anti-crypto measures. Can any of you tell me why China has strong anti-crypto measures? I'm asking, can you tell me? Because I want to see how many people know history. I want to see how many people know about what's going on in the world. I want to see how many people know what's been going on for the course of the last decade. Can you tell me since 2008 or 2009 why China has very strict monetary policies? So China around 2008, 2009 was also heavily affected by the financial crash of 2008 and 2009. Surprise, as was everyone else on the planet. The issue is that China, since the early 90s, was beginning to become a gigantic power force in the financial world. That's why when cryptocurrency transactions became a really big thing within their country, my nose is very stuffed. I don't know if it's allergies or what it is, but it's driving me crazy. When China began to become a force in the world and cryptocurrency transactions were taking over, they began new measures to basically stop people from using other forms of currency to keep their currency as strong as humanly possible. The issue is that as the Chinese currency began to waver around 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, people began to realize that China had kind of lured them to the country with not false promises, but if you didn't read the fine print promises, you were kind of in trouble. And they basically said, and they still do say, if you are dealing and doing business in our country, your money essentially has to remain within the country because of monetary restrictions on how you can and cannot get your money out of the country. You might remember I mentioned a while ago that China had very strict policies, and they've become stricter, therefore had stricter policies when it comes to getting money out of the country the same exact way that the US does. Why is this? Because when people began to realize that something might be wrong with the Chinese economy, this entire thing that you're hearing about Evergrande isn't brand new to large investors and other people who were realizing that things were teetering or nearing the point of collapse in 2012, 13, and 14, began to basically move their money out of the country through bank accounts. Seems simple enough, right? The Chinese government realized that a number of billionaires were taking their money offshore, and the problem is that they hold a large portion of the GDP. So they said, okay, instead of being able to do that, you can only take out around $1 million or so every single day through, your bank, but you have to tell us first. Cool. I will tell you 365 times that I'm taking out $365 million because I want all of my money out of the country. That swiftly turned into you only being able to take out around, I think, several hundred thousand per month. That turned into, I believe, 50,000, and then that turned into 10,000. The issue is, for those of you who haven't caught on, if you have $50 million worth of Bitcoin and you are in China and have access to the internet, you can send, essentially, I mean, the coins don't exist in borders. They exist on chain. So you can essentially send them to another computer and or take that computer on a plane with you, and you have essentially transferred 50, 60, 70, $100 million worth of money. China has, among many other issues, a problem right now with people figuring out ways to get their capital out of the country, as if you haven't been paying attention and haven't been reading and haven't been looking at any type of financial news, a lot of it is propaganda. China's doing okay, but they're not doing as okay as people believed that they were going to be doing, and a lot of things continue to waver as their property market has not recovered, and the country has basically turned back on the money printer in an effort to lightly devalue their currency so that people can basically go there and do business with them. Part of the problem is that major companies have kind of figured out that doing business in China is a bit of a stretch. Because basically what happens is if you are a mega company that's worth billions of dollars, you can't turn off your company. You can't take out billions of dollars at a whim like you would kind of be able to in other countries around the world. And this is why we see the restrictions for crypto as well. And also money movements within the United States. There's a reason why you can't put more than this amount in your account every single month without it being alerted to someone. Or why you can't take out a certain amount of money. Or why, if you ever tried, move large amounts of money from a US account to another one. Years ago when I was buying property in France, I, thought it was click, 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 red button. Click, click, oh, wait, nope, I can't do it. You had to go in person. And you had to tell someone what you were buying. Why were you buying it? Imagine trying to say, I'm buying a house in France, and someone's like, why? Why are you doing that? Especially after like the month-long process of getting to this point where you have to pay. They're like, why are you taking your money out of the bank? So, yes, they've classified crypto transactions, and it's mainly major crypto transactions as a form of money laundering, but other countries are doing the exact same thing, and the US has done the exact same thing as well, for those of you who haven't been looking. If you move large amounts of crypto, you essentially have to tell authorities, but people aren't doing that. So, yeah, this came out as some type of China's anti-crypto once again, dragging it on back. It's because people know nothing about history, about anywhere, not even just within another country that they've probably never been to and will never travel to, but even within their own country. People don't read. People don't want to learn. They like to look on Twitter and they like to see a caption and completely freak out and go completely insane. This was also very popular news because people like to be dramatized and think that everything is, the end of the world. For those of you not looking at the screen, this is an article from 2012. It says China's $13 billion art fraud and what it means for you. For those of you who do not know, this is when it began. If you didn't hear what I was saying, as I've been telling you in many other videos, please read, please learn, please watch documentaries, not even just about stuff that explicitly interests you, but everything. Learn about the world. Watch today. Make it your goal to watch an art documentary. Like, it'll open your perspective about the world and how things work. This is when it began. The world leaders in art right now, or art sales or art buying, is the United States, China, the UK, Germany, and then there's like a cluster of like 15 other countries who kind of make up like the lower 5% of buying around the world. Why is China number 2? Because of the thing that's on the screen right in front of you. People realized a long time ago a very easy way to get money out of the country. And it's usually demonized as money laundering. Oh, the entire idea of money laundering is you basically lowering the strength of your local country where you are. If you take out money, or if everyone takes out too much money, then the country isn't as strong as it previously was. If 35 billionaires say that they're going to take, $700 billion of their wealth out of the country at the exact same time, the country begins to slump. So this is why money laundering is illegal. Moving around money that belongs to you on your own accord, it's because you make the country weaker. Do none of you remember 2008 and 2009, the videos, or maybe even yourself, when you went to the bank and you couldn't get your money out? And you were told by friendly gentlemen who were standing in front of the banks with large pieces of metal in their hand, basically telling you that you couldn't get your money out of it. And when you finally got inside of the bank, you were restricted from only taking out a small amount of money. I mean, that's also another issue because the banks also don't hold as much money as they say. But that's another problem entirely. So what people realized is that they could join the art market. And what ended up happening was that the art market exploded, and people were so excited that the art market had made this dramatic return after 2008 and 2009. And what was basically happening was, you might remember, this was also a very controversial thing years ago. A lot of Chinese people began to buy huge amounts of property in Vancouver and in Montreal, all throughout Canada. And they were doing the same in Mexico, and they were doing the same in France, and they were doing the same in the UK, and they were doing the same in Australia. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Yeah, people were buying art from Christie's and Sotheby's. It was more than 13 billion. People were figuring out that they could buy pieces of art for $2.3 million and get it shipped to Canada or get it shipped to the UK and enable it to have a private purchase from someone else. I.e., you buy a piece of art for $5 million, you get it sent to the UK, and there's a private investor who will give you basically $4.5 million in cash. You say yes. You take that money and you use it to buy property. You've gotten $5 million out of the country because you know that the capital controls are going to get worse. We talked about this. People started doing it with jewelry as well. This is an article from 2014. Chinese snap up fine art for use in laundering schemes. Laundering is always touted as something negative for people who are trying to get their money out of a country. This is part of the problem right now when it comes to crypto. The idea, imagine you bought crypto a number of years ago, and for some reason in 2025, you are worth $1.4 million with the crypto that you have. Well, guess what? If you move that money around, you are also laundering money. And the problem is, especially if it's in dollars or euro or yen, and if you had that money tied into something and the economy goes down, you're not supposed to move that money around. You as an investor are expected to actually push that money even more into stocks and into the market and into gold and into silver and into equities to keep the market afloat, as opposed to being realistic and being like, no, I want to get my money out of this market because something is terribly wrong. It happened for a fairly very long time until the Chinese government really caught on to what was happening. People then moved on to jewelry, basically like gems and jewels and diamonds. You might remember this was around 2015 to 2018. I remember seeing a large amount of advertisements online and on like financial websites talking about like, diamonds are a girl's best friend, but they're also a great way to, store your wealth. And I was like, okay, I see exactly what's happening. Because basically you could buy a bunch of diamonds, you could buy some jewels, you could put them onto jewelry, wear them, go into a private jet and fly to a different country and resell them. People find very creative ways, and these are the ways that people basically did it. And this is an article from a number of years ago. It says China's capital controls Choke cross-border payments. Yes, they continue to get more and more tight is the only word that I could kind of find there, where they're basically trying to figure out ways for people to not take any money out of the country. Over the past year, China has implemented a variety of restrictions to stem capital flight in response to downward pressure on the renminbi. Please read, please learn. It doesn't take a lot. I think I'm in a different position because I'm constantly absorbing financial news, reading it, going over it. I have to skim through all these other articles and news things to see what's happening in the world. You can do the exact same thing. I'm not some kind of wizard. Like, you can read about what's happening in the world. Especially if you're in finance, you realize that, right? Like, you're in the financial world. A lot of people forget that crypto is also finance. Like, I know, like, you deal with money and you see numbers on a screen, but understand that you're in the financial world. Part of the problem, a huge problem, a couple of years ago, when everything was happening, remember 2020 and 2021, people forgot that crypto is part of the world. It sounds like a joke, but people literally were like, why is the crypto market going down? I don't understand. What's happening right now? And I was like, what? The stock market just collapsed. Certain stocks fell by 80%, and people didn't put 3 and 3 together and couldn't understand why crypto would be going down when other assets in the world were also collapsing. Read about the world around you. Learn more. It's not difficult at all. You have to keep yourself informed. Anywho, yeah. So this was listed as hyper negative news, and it was because people didn't realize that this has been going on for more than a decade. Countries have been really making sure that people can't move money around. That's part of the magic of crypto. That's why I always say, if you are legally able to do it within your country, do it. That's part of the issue. Is that countries are realizing that as many capital controls as you put. Imagine a gigantic string, like a huge long string, and wrap it around the earth. Keep wrapping it as many times as you can, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and keep going. That's blockchain. It's all interconnected. It's all connected to itself and to other systems. This is the issue with the current old system that we have, is that it's all fragmented. You can't do anything. You constantly have to ask for permission to do anything. And when you have this new system, this is why I'm always, waving a red flag in the air whenever we hear that Visa and MasterCard and PayPal are trying to integrate to MetaMask and to this website, and they're trying to get you to use the old system as opposed to just using crypto. We have a new system that does everything that their system can't. There aren't any restrictions on crypto. There are restrictions if you send your Ether to MasterCard, who sends it to a third party, who sends it to another processing system, who then sends it to someone else. You're entering extra steps that we figured out a long time ago. Learn about the world and the way that it is and the way that it works. Anywho, yeah, that's the China news that everyone was trying to. And also the other thing with, with Justin Sun was probably, no one knows. People were saying online that it was allegedly him shilling some meme coin. No, crypto is not banned in China. It just has heavy restrictions on it. You can hold it, but you have to buy it over the counter and you have to sell it over the counter, and people can mine there. You just have to ask for permission compared to where you are doing it. I'm seeing, I don't even know if I should mention this one. Let me think about it for a good second. Whatever. People are floating a lot of rumors about, no, I'm not going to mention it. Just learn. Just understand that people are actively lying to you. They're trying to get you into a certain corner, to think a certain way, to try and think that everyone's against you when they're not. Crypto is, not to sound cheesy, it is a wonderful thing, and we'd be so much better off if the entire community understood that. Everyone's so into meme coins and losing their money and being rug pulled. If everyone came together and just supported the major chains, we would already have a $500,000 Bitcoin. We'd already have a $42 XRP. We'd already have a $38,000 Ethereum. But the money's flowing around as the stupidity is floating around, because people are so intent on not learning and looking for an enemy and looking for something that's wrong and looking for a finger to point and to blame to someone and talking about Gary Gensler online as opposed to just coming together. I know it won't happen, because I've been calling for unity since around 2018. I know that everyone likes being tribal and everyone likes complaining and everyone likes throwing their arms in the air for things that aren't happening. But 99%, if you watched this channel before, 99% of the news that's coming out there is a lie. And then I have to make a video about how it's a lie to try and make sure that you know the actual news of what's going on, because no one else is presenting the actual facts ever. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Please take time out of your day to learn. Like, just watch documentaries, and not those really weird financial documentaries. I keep seeing stuff like God bless Bitcoin. No, learn about the financial system. Like, learn about like the 2008-2009 crash. Like, keep digging deeper. Anyway, thank you all once again for subscribing, for liking, and for supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.